Today, I'm giving you an overview of Icon and Rocket Season 1, the standard size hardcover. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. You should definitely subscribe if you are into comics, if you are new here, by the way. Now today, taking a look at one of my favorite titles to come out in this year, and that is Icon and Rocket Season 1. Now you guys know, and maybe I don't have to tell you because you can kind of see the background over here, but I'm a big Milestone Media fan, and this is the second completed series that we got from the Milestone Returns initiative that started back in 2021. So you've heard me talk about some of these characters a ton, but now the hardcovers are coming out, the series are being collected, and I get to tell you how well they went. So we're gonna do an overview of this book, but I am also going to give you my overall thoughts on the story. I'm gonna try to keep this as spoiler free as possible. I will say there are sort of mild spoilers for issue 1, but it's really just explaining the premise of who the character is. I don't think it takes anything away from your reading experience. But this video is brought to you by the good folks at Organic Priced Books, our channel sponsor. Now, they're the best place to look for collected editions such as hardcovers like this, oversized hardcovers, massive omnibus, all that stuff. I get them all from Organic Priced Books. They've got the best packaging and customer service in the game. This book is still in stock there. You can grab it for a price of $25, or if you're smart and you use my discount code BJKicks, you'll save $2 on that order. Or if you bundle this with 2 other books, like say the Milestone Compendium and Static Season 1, well then you can use my discount code BJKicks, ship it together for orders of 3 books or more, and you'll save 5% on your entire purchase, and it'll arrive in one convenient package. All 3 of those books are still in stock at OPB, so don't wait. Thanks again to OPB for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get into this book. All right, so here we are. This is Icon and Rocket Season 1, the standard size hardcover. Ironically, I have this section of my desk that's kind of devoted to Milestone. This whole wall, actually, if I move the camera, boom, this is my Milestone wall. And so just by me showing you that, you should know or have a bit of an idea of just how much this book means to me. But anyway, this is Icon and Rocket Season 1. First of all, I gotta shout out the cover artist on this, who is Torrin Clark. Torrin Clark, he did the covers for this series, for every issue. He did the A covers. He's also the cover artist on Miles Morales right now, which that run is coming to an end. And they've been giving him more work at Marvel. He's been doing variant covers on X-Men Red, which is my favorite X-Men title right now. So yeah, Torrin Clark is getting really big and good assignments in Marvel. So that's dope. And his story is really amazing. He went from losing his sight, or partially losing his sight, to being a superstar artist. That is wild, and I love that for that dude. But anyway, Icon of Rocket Season 1, written by Reggie Hudlin and Leon Chills. The art on the interiors is by Doug Braithwaite, and I gotta tell you, this was some of the best art in the Milestone Returns initial story arcs. But let's stop talking about it and get into it. Enough with the introductions. By the way, I'm seeing this along with you for the first time. So here we go. We got Rocket over here on this French flap. We stopped drug sales on your street corner. We disrupted the drug sales globally. Every action has consequences. That is actually a quote from Icon in this series. And then, bang, bang, we got Icon on the other side with Rocket in the background. That's super dope. This is kind of borrowing that same sort of overlay, if you will, or if you remember, from the Static Season 1 hardcover. So I like that they're keeping the designs consistent, because I'm definitely collecting all of these as they come out. Straight off the bat, boom, there you go. That's your cover. You got some nice spot gloss there. Very well done. I love that. But anyway, let's get into this book. So we got Icon and Rocket Season 1. This is art. This is Doug Braithwaite art as well. This was a variant cover that he did for the series. Like this wraparound. Let's look at the full design. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Now, without further ado, Icon and Rocket Season 1. That's Doug Braithwaite on that as well. So this collects Icon and Rocket Season 1, issues 1 through 6, as well as the Milestone Returns 0 issue. So I like that they're including that 0 issue in every Milestone hardcover so far. We got an intro by Alice Randall, and then we go straight into that 0 issue. So this is a Milestone Returns 0 issue. This was like the fandom preview. So it's got some work by Dennis Cowan, Nick Draper-Ivey, Bill Sienkiewicz, Chris Sotomayor, lots of people. And this is the kind of starting point for this new Milestone universe. At this point, I've talked about Milestone so much, I don't want to rehash, but I'm glad they included this in here because this book is essential for you understanding what the Dakota universe is as you go further into this one. So then we go straight into Icon and Rocket Season 1, issue number 1. Got that virgin cover art by Torrin Clark, like I said. Okay, good. At least you got like a title page so you know where you are. And bang. So we're starting off. He was heading home when it happened. So the original Icon series was kind of groundbreaking in that it's written not from Icon's point of view, who is the natural hero of the story. And that same thing applies in this book. But if you're not familiar, Icon is an alien, kind of like Superman was, who comes down to Earth and basically assumes the life form of assumes like the image of like the nearest life form. So he lands as an alien, and he lands on a slave plantation in the 1800s in Georgia in 1843. So you see his ship kind of helps him like cloak. Yeah, my bad. Cloak his real identity. And, there he goes. He becomes a baby. Now this issue 1 is basically the same as Icon number 1 from like 1993, 92, 93. So this whole origin story is pretty much exactly the same, but Icon comes, he becomes a slave boy, and he grows up, during Reconstruction, slavery, Reconstruction. And later on, because Icon is an alien, he's pretty much immortal, and he lives like several lifetimes. So he basically like fakes his own death a bunch of times and keeps coming back as like his own son, grandson, or what have you. So we know Icon as Augustus Freeman IV. And basically in present day Dakota, he's a lawyer. He does well for himself. And he's been on the planet for a long time. So he tends to be old school, and that's Icon. And then this chick, Rocket, they meet because her friends are trying to like rob the dude's house. They don't think a black dude lives in this rich neighborhood. And then when they find him there, they try to shoot him, and then they realize, he's an alien. They don't know he's an alien. They just know he's got superpowers. And he makes it known like, y'all need to quit what you're doing. Like, stop being jerks. If you want something, like, go work for it, so on and so on. But he displays this great power, and it inspires Rocket. And she decides like, okay, this dude like needs to be a superhero. So she tries to convince him to be a superhero, and she convinces him to let her be his sidekick. And that's how we get Icon and Rocket. So spoilers for issue 1. I guess I should have said that. It's not really a spoiler. It's the premise of the whole series. So in this book, we basically have Icon and Rocket. They go on kind of their first adventures. And their big thing is trying to eradicate drugs. And instead of just taking down like street dudes or whatever, they try to go to the source, and that has its own complications. And honestly, I can't say any more than that. Even going through the art, it's difficult because they pack a lot in this series. But I want to go through the artwork because you have to see how masterful Doug Braithwaite is. And my understanding is Doug Braithwaite kind of does like an all pencils thing, and then everything else gets added in the colors, which that's amazing in and of itself. I love this cover. I think this is the cover to issue 4 or 5, but I love that cover. So this series is a lot different from the original Icon and Rocket. Obviously, it shares a lot when it comes to like the origin and stuff like that. But it's also different in many ways. And in a lot of the ways that it's different, I wasn't exactly ready for that. Like, there's a lot that gets added to the Icon and Rocket story. And they try to answer a question like, what has Icon or what has Augustus been doing all those years? Like, if he lived through slavery, if he lived through Jim Crow, why did he never try to do anything about it? And some of the ways they address that question, I wasn't completely on board for, but if it did nothing else, it helps to kind of assert the fact that, hey, you have not read this book before. If you read the old Milestone, great, but this ain't just a rehash of that. And so I appreciate that it was, they try to do an original spin on it. And I think it mostly sticks the landing. But it was just so jarring having read the original stuff so recently. I had no idea this stuff was coming back out. So I read this stuff. I read the original Icon like maybe 2 months before they announced that they were going to relaunch it for real, and they gave us like actual publishing dates and all that. This is a variant cover gallery. Fun fact, I did buy this cover, which ended up being a 1 in 25 variant for issue number 1. But Icon and Rocket was the only series that I didn't like force myself to buy every variant cover of. I did buy quite a few variants, and now that I'm looking at this gallery, I wish I had bought all of them because these are great. I don't think my shop even got all these variants, but I didn't buy every cover A and every cover B on these. So yeah. Oh, this is interesting. A really dope extra. In 2017, initial start on the relaunch of Icon and Rocket was undertaken with Milestone co-founder Dennis Cowan on art. Dennis had to step away from the project at the time, but the resulting pages are a fascinating opportunity to see what 2 different mega talents can do with the same pages of script as seen in these scenes from issue 2 of the series. So that's dope. So this is Dennis Cowan on pencils for issue 2. That's really dope. And man, Bill Sienkiewicz was going to be the inker. I kind of need that series. I think Doug Braithwaite did an amazing job, like amazing. So I don't know that I would want this series to be different because the art very much kept me in the story when the writing wasn't. But Dennis Cowan and Bill Sienkiewicz are just such an amazing team together. They're on Hardware season 1. But yeah, so I'm glad they stayed on Hardware, but I'm curious to see what a Dennis Cowan, Bill Sienkiewicz Icon book would have looked like. And that's the book. Yeah, so overall thoughts. I think this book is good. I always say this is like my least favorite of the Milestone Returns titles, but that's not really saying a lot because I hold them all in such high regard. So if I have to rate this, I'm probably giving it like a 7.5. 7.5 out of 10. I think what the changes to the character kind of took me out of the story a bit, and that's too hard to overlook or too big to overlook. But the art is just so good that it really trumps like everything else. I think the ending felt a little bit rushed. There were new stakes introduced toward the end that just kind of got washed away in the last issue, and I felt that could have been handled a little bit better. So there are flaws in the book, but I do think it does a great job of one thing that's different than in this series than in the old one is in the old series, Icon is very much like kind of played as like he's aloof, like he's old school and he's very much made fun of for it. And in this series, I think they do a better job of showing how Icon and Rocket or Raquel are different without making it seem like Icon is just some dumb old man. They really show the respect that Rocket has for Icon, and they show how well that relationship has been established, or is established over time. And I think that is something we didn't get, at least not in the initial story arc of the first series. I think over time you definitely get that. But I think this does a good job of presenting that mentor-mentee relationship while still maintaining enough differences where it's not just like Batman and Robin, where she's soaking up everything that he's saying and so on. So all in all, like I said, 7.5 out of 10. Great story. I do recommend it if you couldn't tell. I recommend getting all the Milestone Returns titles. And if that's not enough for you, you can go back and read the old Milestone books in the Milestone Compendium. Both this and the Milestone Compendium are available from our channel sponsor, Organic Price Books. So if you're interested, use my coupon code, save yourself some money, and get a great story. That's enough talking for me. I'm going to see you guys in another video very soon. Until then, I hope you saw something you liked in this one. If not, hey, that's cool. So you can always buy what you like. Just make sure you read what you buy. And be nice to others, because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.